Today, I'm absolutely honored and blessed to have this most amazing soul with me, Angelica Fisler, who is very creative and she is so in the now. She's a vegan chef. She specializes in, and she's even written 2 books on sprouting, and she's a blogger. And more recently, because she's so passionate about helping people, and I'm choking up just thinking of all the good work that she does. She's so passionate about helping people. She's created an iFilm called Lotus, and I was extremely blessed to be on the premiere of the opening of this wonderful documentary. So without further ado, I would like to welcome this beautiful goddess to Wellness Spring. And if you don't mind telling the audience a bit about your background, which led you on to your journey to date.
Beverley, thank you so much for having me, and a huge hug to all of you guys out there. It's great to be with you here. Thank you for all the work that you do, Beverley. We've been knowing each other for many years, and we always met, at the right time, and I'm really grateful to be here with you.
Thank you. I know, because we met many years ago when I first arrived through a lovely friend, Isla, who knew your husband, Roman, as the wonderful osteopath. And she said, and you've got to meet his wife as well. She's speaking your language. And we connected. You came to a few of my events, and then we went to that lovely event put on by Anime. And I introduced you to the lovely Oliver Riz, who's the most magical musician. And I believe he did some work with you on your iFilm Lotus. So maybe we could start with that.
Yes, it was so beautiful. And everything in life happens for a reason. And so many beautiful serendipities. And when I actually met Oliver, well, like you called me, like, I'm coming to Antibes tomorrow, you want to come? Like, I'm like, all right, let's go. And it was so beautiful, because then we went to have lunch all together, and Oliver, he asked me, what's your life purpose, and what do you really want to do? And we spoke about it, and I was like, I really want to touch people's heart, like really facilitate an awakening, and for people who are already awakened, like help along the transformation process, because we are all in this together, and we all have our purpose and our gifts to share. And specifically, we were speaking, like, I really want to make music as well. I love to sing, but not just regular music, like music in special frequencies, so they really are more impactful. And he turns to me and he says, Angelica, that's exactly what I do. So he's this amazing composer and pianist, and he is creating music in special frequencies. And when we met, and we spoke with Anime as well, it was clear we're going to work together at some point, and everything came together. And Lotus, so it's really it's my first film, and I did it because I was like, you know what, I don't find anybody who resonates with me so much, or I didn't find a producer. I'm just going to do it myself. And for me, it was clear that I asked also Oliver to do the soundtrack, and then I sang to it, and everything, came together so beautifully that I'm like, wow, this is exactly how it's meant to be. And what's very amazing about this is we filmed it in 2019 in September, and I knew I have to make it, I have to go for it now, because if I don't go for it now, it's too late. Little did I know about the whole, pandemic and everything that happened after. And I truly believe that, the whole thing was so inspired, and it really was made for this time we're in right now, to really invite us all to dive deeper inside. And as we spoke about before, it's like the only constant change can only come from within. Healing can only come from within. So this film is an invitation to really dive deep within.
I know, it really touched my heart and soul when I listened to it, and I replayed it so many times since. And everybody that I've shared it with is like, oh my God, she has to make a movie. And I know when we first met as well, you told me, because obviously you're a freelance diver, you go in deep, and you're an underwater model. And I know you told me you went underwater with your wedding dress on as well. I'm just wondering, you know, with all this creative art, what was the inspiration behind the movie?
So the inspiration, everything was really inspired. And you mentioned, like, I wrote 2 books on sprouting, and honestly, it's realizing those universal principles that are omnipresent and that go through everything. So for example, right, when we look at the situation out there, many people are lost. They are like, what is my life purpose? Lost in the consumption, everyday life, mainstream, whatever it might be. And deep inside, and I know that because I've been there, like, and I've suffered in many, many ways. It's like deep inside, we know, like, there's so much more, that who we are, so much more potential. And yet in my case, it was like I had so much insight that I had no clue how to bring it into the world. And at the same time, my inner world was so different from that outer mainstream world that I was seeing when I was younger, right? I wasn't yet connected with all those amazing holistic people. And it creates so much pain when we don't live our truth and who we truly are. And for example, when I teach people how to sprout, right, we have those seeds. And even if you have a garden, or if you look into nature, the seed has everything within. It needs to grow into a plant. And I truly believe that we too have everything inside of us that we need to grow into our full potential. That nowadays, like, so programming, like the whole indoctrination, it's like we have a cement wall around us, and we've got all those amazing plans on top of that, like have that job, have that status, have that much money, that car, that and the list goes on. And all our energy and attention flows into those plans, right? So nothing is left for that seed inside, that who we truly are. And then, you know, however it comes, sometimes through, in my case, I had a severe virus infection, bacterial infection, 2009, when I lived in Mexico, that helped me to wake up, because it came with an arrhythmic heart disease and, you know, really a crisis. And yet I know, no, that's my wake-up call. And it allowed me to then go deep within and really listen to my heart and go with the flow. And I know that's easier said than done. And it comes with, it's like peeling the onion, it comes with lots of tears and lots of pain in that sense, right? Yet I believe that's the only way to go. And then whatever it is, or, you know, going to inspirational events like you organize them, whatever it is that helps us to get into that seed inside, if we know the power, like once we activate the seed, activate means like activating it to life. It's like when we soak a seed in water, it starts to sprout. And have you ever seen like a street where it was asphalt or cement, and somehow a little plant managed to break through this wall of, you know, beton?
Yes.
And it's the same power that we have inside of us when we tap into who we truly are, and we give our inner core more energy, and then we can literally break through anything. And I really believe that's why we're here, to live our truth, our essence. We are all unique. We are all unique plants, if you wish, you know, we all have our gifts to share. And this really is the inspiration behind Lotus. Like, and you know, it's super freaking scary to dive deep within, right? Lotus is an invitation to dive deep within. And will we face fears? Yes. Will we face demons? Yes. And it's also about, you know, having the courage to dive deep within, because that's the only way how you can truly start to live. And one important aspect is as well that, you know, like we humans love our comfort zone, right? And yet we have to understand that if we want to truly live our full potential, we are that seed. If we want to live, we got to jump into that cold water, literally speaking, right? And it's going to be uncomfortable. And to become who we are meant to be, we got to let go of who we are currently. So that seed, in that sense, is going to die is dying the moment we jump into the water. And so that's what so many people are afraid of, because we are in that comfort zone. We know who we are. We have that, ego, that life, and it's hard to go for it. And yet, if deep inside, it's like you are that lotus flower or whichever, you gotta jump in and you gotta go through the mud and, hit rock bottom. It's all part of it. And Lotus is an invitation to really, no matter where you are in your personal transformation process, to really be inspired and empowered to keep going, because it's your truth and it's why you are here.
I totally agree with you. And, all of us, as you hit on unique, we are unique. And it's about taking that first jump. And, you mentioned awakening and the sprouting. Recently I read, or someone told me, when you're doing your own planting of vegetables or seeds, you should put them in your mouth first. And you have all the cell memory that your body leads in that moment, and then you plant it, and it will be so healing for yourself. But I think people don't realize, a lot of people, they're in their comfort zone, but it's really, they're stuck in their energy. The only way they can grow is by expanding. And as we know, we both went to see Nassim Haramein. I organized the event and you were there, and everybody was hanging off his every word, talking about the cells and atoms. And we talked about energy, and you're surrounded by beautiful plants and the universe. We're all one. Like I think on the same wavelength as you, that we're spirit beings in this physical body, and it's our divine purpose, it's our birthright to lead a happy, purposeful, meaningful life. And we need to expand, we need to grow. So I know with Lotus, this is a strong message. You want people to grow, and then you've got your website and people can come and do some recommended follow-ups. But where did you start your journey? You said 9 years ago, but what about your parents and grandparents? Like, I know you're Austrian. Where did you grow up? I'm sure the listeners would be keen to find out a bit more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking the question. It goes like, I grew up in Austria, in the southern part of Carinthia, really beautiful. Had a very, I would say, hard childhood of, lots of alcoholism in the family, lots of emotional pain and suffering, which was precisely what helped me to become who I am today. So I so see the gift in there. I mean, absolutely amazing, and I truly recommend everybody to really look at all the pain points in our life and really acknowledge them as a gift, because they make either it takes a lot of pressure to form a diamond, right? And if we can transform the negativity, and I always say, shit is the best hummus and the best fertilizer, and it really can help you grow the best, you know what I mean? If we manage also in life to see these things as a potential and possibility to grow, we won. And yeah, I mean, at the same point, I had a beautiful childhood. It was always like, black and white in that sense. Really beautiful. I studied in Graz, and after my studies I was like, I could go on, but I don't know, like, it doesn't bring anything. And if I spend 2 more years or whatever more to have my PhD or whatever, it's gonna be the same situation, just I lost many years. And no, there's something I don't know yet. Something is not right here. I have no idea what, but I'm gonna go and find out. So, and that's why after my studies I went to Mexico, where I then became sick. And then decided, if I make it out healthy and alive, I'm gonna live life on my own terms, and faced my fear of water, because I was always afraid of water. And then, that whole journey started. And honestly, like, after my awakening process and everything as well, to be honest with you, and you will see that in Lotus as well, when we come into the world, when we are kids, like we live inside out. everybody also tells us, live your dreams, do whatever. Like, and that was my childhood also, you know, like I lived inside out. I had the most creative projects all over the place, all the time, super active. And then came the time of indoctrination or programming. You know, you become a teenager, you think you have, oh, I have to wear these and these clothes, or, oh, then you have to work, and right, it's that the matrix kind of thing that gets you. And in the film also you see that face. And then I struggled with it. I'm like, there's something wrong, and, you know, lots of suffering, and kind of trying to figure out where I'm going. And then, you know, there was my wake up call in Mexico, and it was the biggest present ever. And I mean, I got into all the shamanic work, more meditation, yoga, and then boom, I woke up. And Lotus is a homage for that awakening. And yet, you know, from 2009 till 2019, there was transformation again. And even preparing and creating the film, producing it, directing it, the whole creation process, going into it so intuitively as well, because we could have stopped at any moment of the film because it was so impossible, it was so difficult. And yet, you know, it was so inspired. I was like, no, it has to be. So anybody could say anything. I didn't care. I just went for it. And that's a bit, more about myself. Like I truly became, after that awakening, I became that child again, that I even remembered how it was when I was that free, you know, connection to my inner child, and just bubbling energy, and creating, and going with the flow, and following my inspirations. And I truly believe that, you know, it's so amazing when we live out of this place within, anything is possible. And, you know, the mind, all the beliefs of, you know, what you think you can or can't do, leave that on the side, and then just go for your vision and make it your reality.
Thank you. I totally agree. We think the same, as I mentioned earlier. And I also think we don't have to hit rock bottom, you know, because you and I, we've been through so much stuff, and now we can help people even more to work on themselves and prevent it. And I do see a lot of clients and even friends, and some of them say, oh, they had the best upbringing, everything was perfect in their lives. But it's only when a crisis happens, they realize that they were blocking stuff that they didn't even realize that happened. But I think, you know, a lot of people have traumas in their life and they bury them instead of dealing with them. So it's good to work on the traumas now.
It's a must.
Yeah, exactly. So that we don't have to have that big drop. You know, it's always better to keep on a plateau rather than having these huge ups and downs.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And what else about your parents? Were they spiritually minded? Because
oh yeah, good question. So true. I never think of that.
What were their background?
I grew up in a monastery. I was like, oh, you must have had the perfect childhood and like super spiritual. I'm like, yeah, sure. No, like, I honestly have to say, like, my dad, actually, he's very much in tune with nature, and we spent so much time in nature when I was a kid. So this is really my source of, you know, to tune in. For me, it's really nature, that connection with nature. I really have that from my dad. My dad didn't fully manage to live his truth, so that's why then, you know, he had problems drinking, or, you know, like didn't manage the things the right way. I would say he's very natural, but not at all really spiritual. I had, though, the most amazing freedom, and I gave myself the freedom actually to be who I am, but not spiritual whatsoever at all. I was also very rebellious child. Like, I was a pain in the ass child. I don't like,
I couldn't imagine you like
no. I had all hair colors. made a piercing when I was like 14 against, I tried to negotiate for a year to get my piercing, didn't get the okay, then I did it anyways, found ways. No, I was like a pain in the ass. But at the same time, it's normal, because in any family you have the system, right? And every family member has a certain position to balance things. And for me, I was always like, also when I was a child, looking at, I hang out, because I wanted to understand the world, that there were like the skaters, the punks, the snobs, the everybody. Where's my place? But I never, in that sense, I was always like, even when I studied, I had friends who were 60 and beyond, because I really appreciated the profound conversations that we could have. And yeah, so in that sense, I would say really typical Austrian family that I grew up. We had our own garden, but I mean, my favorite food were French fries and sweet stuff. And I was the complete sugar addict. Yet at the gymnastics, sports, acrobatics, sang in the choir, I had my own projects and even businesses as a kid already. So, I mean, it was good. Like, looking back, I have to say, wow, like the entire freedom to express myself, and yet also though to have like profound negative experiences, also to hit rock bottom in a way where I have to say it's so amazing, because when I was a kid, and like there were like unfair things, or really like fights and all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting when you then look at, okay, did I visit the future when I was the kid, or did I go back into the past when I was in the future, right? So when I really as a kid as well, for example, lying in my room and crying and just not knowing what to do anymore, like I really connected, higher self you can say, but really future self. I connected to my future self back then, and kind of received messages that everything will be well. And I really, like, when I did all the healings, throughout the past, I would say like 15 years or something, I really, it was the, like, I don't know what happened when, because there's no time anyways, but it was that it allowed me to have that connection and that opening of the spirit. And when I was a kid already, I had certain, and I could see certain things or hear certain things, so very, very intuitive. Then I blocked it for some time, and then afterwards I tuned back into that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And talking about diving into the deep, 4 minutes 44. So
yep.
Like Archangel Michael's numbers, so the angels are all around you as well. And what training was involved with your underwater modeling?
Great question. So when I started the whole thing, it really was like Mexico. I was like, I'm going to face my fear of water. And a friend told me she's going to go swimming with whale sharks. And I knew I had to do it as well. So I did that. And then, from that, I was like, oh, wow, like I want to do more photos underwater. I did not dive back then. I didn't free dive back then. So my approach really was like, I just held my breath underwater. Yet since I already did meditation, my approach came from, all right, I just got to calm myself down and then go underwater. So before I had any training in diving or free diving, I already held my breath for 4 minutes 21. That's
wow.
Just with meditation. And for me, it's a moving meditation. It's so profound. And there are so many life lessons when I hold my breath. Then afterwards, obviously I did dive training, and I did free dive training, but way too late, Yet I was like, how come? I mean, the top level free divers, they are more into spiritual things as well. But the normal free divers, it's just a sport. And I'm like, how come they don't use the meditation and the whole thing, right? Like, I can't just go like that. Like, it needs to be proper preparation. And there are so many parallels. Like, I learned so much from free diving and simply holding my breath. It's after, it depends, after a minute and a half, your diaphragm starts to contract, because it's basically pumping the blood from your hands and legs into your essential organs. It's like the mammal dive reflex. And it's quite uncomfortable, as you can imagine, when you have like, it's pumping and, you know, underwater, it's basically that choking feeling where like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, I have to breathe, right? And yet in freediving, or when you hold your breath, you gotta, no matter what's happening, like no matter how hard it rocks in that sense, right, and contracts, you gotta stay calm, observe, and really tune into, you know, a different place. If you go into the panic and into the all the drama, you lose. You got to stay at this neutral, beautiful place of bliss, love, and connection, and then you will be able to really hold your breath. And where I really was able to do the 4 minutes 44 was when I completely I surrendered. Like, it's like literally I just observed my body, and I was like, I don't know, it's like you really let go. It's almost like a death and a rebirth in a way, but you simply observe. And it's so beautiful because it's the most liberating feeling ever. And for me, the freediving and holding my breath, it also helps me a lot. You have to get out of your mind, and you have to be in the present moment, and you can't focus on anything negative. That's also something I learned when I did another project with Benjamin from Wong. We went to Poland. There was a project we did also for the environment and everything. 12 degrees water temperature and 13 meters down. It was in the middle of a dark lake where there was an excavator. And in the preparation, I'm like, I didn't have enough preparation. I went to a wedding in Austria where they had vegan food, but there was sugar in there. So I had a little ear infection before. So no way you could go into ice cold water and stuff. And I was like, no. Okay, I got to focus on the right thing. And it's literally where our thoughts, we know that, right, Beverley? Like our thoughts, yeah. We create our own reality. And when I hold my breath or in preparation like that, I literally sense every part of my body. How, for example, when you're negatively focused and you imagine like, oh, you won't succeed, or, you know, something will go wrong, how you contract, versus when you really are centered and you really focus, you know, I was like, I am the water. I am the, like, it's all one, right? Mm. Then you expand. And that's also the only way how with Lotus, because it was so challenging, that I was even able to perform what I was able to perform. Because besides the ice cold water, partly I had 5 kilos of weight around the hips to sink down 15 meters and couldn't equalize with the hand, the ear. So, you know, you have to find ways. And it's literally, I was one with all there is. And I was my body was executing, right? It was inspiration and I was executing. And I really believe, like, if we take this, this way of being more for our life as well, like we all have our life purpose and we are here for a reason, right? It's like the cells in our body. Every cell has a specific function to serve the whole. And if we can tune in to our specific function, life purpose, and serve that purpose, everything comes automatically, and we'll be able to serve the whole of humanity and in this universe and multiverse, right? And this is so amazing because the parallels are all over.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps just listening to you speaking. It's so powerful. And for myself, I'm just curious, like when you, what were you, how did you become fearful of water? And 2, what is the maximum you've gone down? And 3, because you said you just totally surrender, but at some stage you obviously make a decision or you hear a message to go up. When do you know that you're going to ascend?
So when did I get fearful of water? Honestly, that's simply the programming of TV. I remember I didn't even pass I think was it the first swim test at school when you're like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. I didn't pass it. We were in the swimming pool, and I'm like, oh, I'm so scared. And somebody told me, oh, like, just imagine there's a penguin or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm scared of animals. And, you know, it's that picture of you are in the sea and then the white shark is going to come and pull you down. So it was nothing else but the whole programming. And also if you consider the water, you know, the surface, it's like above is what we are aware of, but below is the unconscious, the subconscious mind. A lot of stuff is buried down there. And so we are also scared of going down in certain sense, because it would mean we need to open up. We might face some dark things down there. And so it's all a bit related. The main reason though certainly was the whole TV stuff. And yeah, I would say that's number one. And then when you ask about how I could really know when it's time to go up, so it's all feeling. Even like when you watch the film, for example, I mean, at some point also, because like when I twisted and turned, you lose the sense of how deep you are when I just fall down like a rock. We did have a safety diver who knocked on his tank, the safety diver of the videographer, when I was below a certain stage or depth.
Yeah.
And then I knew, okay, it was time to go up again, because also with so much weight, you don't play around a lot, because it really gets heavy. Like 5 kilos at 15 meters, that's pretty heavy. For the film, I didn't go deeper than 15, 16 meters, something like that. And for the training, I think, and I don't go deep, like generally, I'm not like a classical free diver going down the rope 120 meters. I went down, the deepest I ever went was 23 meters. For me, it's really, and the light is all up there. And with the tank though, I went down to 45 meters. It's all about the artistic aspect. So this is really, yeah, to help me express a message in that sense.
That's beautiful, really beautiful. So where next from the iFilm?
Yeah, so after, now we really it was quite a birthing to bring Lotus into the world, I have to say. Now we really let Lotus blossom and bloom. I do have lots of ideas already for, you know, everything that's coming up. I want to, the next project I want to do is a documentary film about what I call high vibe food. And it's something, you know, I gave it the name because it explains the best what it is all about, that we have high vibrational food that's full of biophotons that, you know, helps us to really raise our vibration. At the same time, we don't need to raise our vibration. We just need to stop doing and consuming the stuff that lower our vibration and will be naturally high, right? Mm-hmm. And documentary on this whole subject. Now the focus is really on bringing out the book High Vibe Food and then going with the flow documentary. And of course I have, you know, more ideas for Lotus follow-ups, where I really put one puzzle piece after the other, you know. It's really visions that I get and ideas, and then I put it all together. And that's the beauty about Lotus as well. It was so, I knew what I wanted, and I had even visions of specific scenes. And then though, you can't plan too much, because things change, you have to adapt. And it was really, the magic of Lotus was being here right now in the present moment and really being guided to bring on camera what had to be on camera. And this whole thing was like such a flow, and to me really the ultimate creation process. Also with Austin, the cinematographer, and my partner in Lotus, is, you know, it was a yin and a yang. It was like, it was a co-creation with all out. I mean, it was so many moving parts. You can't, if you would need to plan that, you couldn't even. And so really the idea is to really go with the flow and see, you know, take the right moves when they are inspired, because they are much more powerful. Because otherwise you can just splash around and do non-meaningful stuff right and left. And for me, even like all the offers, all the everything, you know, I'm like, no, it has to be the right thing. And then, you know, we take it from there and we move forward.
I totally agree. And I know that you were getting lots of offers, and it's so important to stay focused. And so it must have been really difficult, because I know at the time you were trying to get sponsors, because it takes a lot of money to do all that filming and just all the work behind the scenes. And I knew that was huge, because at the time you were relatively unknown to these big film producers, etc.,
yeah.
etc. And that would have been a nightmare, just trying to get the logistics and the finance and things like that. So
I'm laughing, you know why? Because like I was like, and that's such an important point. It's like what we live and express in nowadays world is nothing compared to what we have inside and the potential we have inside. And you know, I had it all. I had the vision. I knew what it's gonna be. And I've been working as an international underwater model worldwide. We did big, even for vegan brand commercials, everything, right? And yet, and I tried to get supporters on board, and I have to tell you, it was a disaster. Like I basically financed the film myself. And even team members they were like, yeah, all right, let's go with it. But nobody really saw what it was. And to tell you the truth, like even like the week before I started filming, I was like, okay, I have to see where do I actually accommodate all the team. I then finally got some sponsors on board for the accommodation in Mexico. And basically I had raised 100 euros.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, it's a budget of, we all worked based on collaboration, yet it's a huge budget because we need to rent the camera housing itself. It's 2K. We had, unfortunately, I mean, we got to film with cinema equipment of like 150K worth and everything. But yet, like, I just went in and I was like, I don't care. This has to happen. I'm going to finance it. I put all my money in there. In Mexico, everything got more expensive. People tried to rip me off. And, you know, I just tried to handle the whole situation. My husband called like, what's happening with your bank account? And I'm like, oh no, like just everything will be fine. Like I got enough to focus on here. Now I need to focus on producing, directing, performing. And it was like, you know, and then fortunately though, also some, friends in the mastermind I'm in, and you know, some people like then saw some first photos and started to support it a bit, and we did get in some supporter money. The main part still, you know, is you know what I kind of put in, and that's totally fine because I really want this film out, and you know it will has its way, and we see, you know, we take it from there. At the end of the day, I was like, it's the most meaningful thing that I could put my money in, and I can't blame anybody else if they don't quite yet see it, or it's such a profound, it's a message also not for everybody, although I really, you know, try to create it so universally that people feel it. Like I wanted it to go beyond words, so we don't need to explain. It goes beyond any boundaries of language, of culture, we can just feel it. And that's really my contribution, you know, like with all the, like from the book sales, from all my online programs. I also work with super yachts, with vegan super yacht. I teach private chefs, yacht chefs, you know, and from all of these projects, a part goes into my, what I call Bliss Planet projects, and Lotus is the first project of that. So, you know, like the key is to be on purpose, and for the rest I really don't care, you know, like everything comes together and you meet the right people and things evolve, and so in that sense all good. But anybody could have given up many times along the way, but I was like, no, it has to happen, and it's all simply tests, you know.
Yeah, it's good that you had that energy. And I also think everything happens in divine timing. And as you mentioned at the very start, we had COVID. And right now, this is the most powerful message that's in your film for people to listen to at the moment and be guided. So, you know, I'm sure when people see your film, others will be very happy to donate to do the work that you're doing, future work. And, you know, you're just such a breath of fresh air, and you walk your walk and talk your talk, and, you know, you live in the plant life, and you're so respectful to the environment and humanity. And I know deep inside my heart that amazing things are going to happen for you. So
already are happening.
They are happening.
Yes.
You know, and how many people you were so in tuned as a child, you could see your future self. And I think that statement alone can help reassure a lot of children, because children get confused and don't know what's going on. And, you know, just to hear that you are so super successful and got a vision, and I know you be the new generation coming through are so full of love and compassion and respect. I believe there's a huge global shift happening right now, whether people believe it or not, but for the light workers, we feel it more. And for the people, the non-believers, it's change and together, because we're all shifting together. We're here. We've done the work on ourselves to help other people with this shift. So
goosebumps.
Yeah. And the children, I'm just like, I haven't got any of my own, but when I'm meeting my nieces and nephews or other people's children lately, the profound messages they are saying, oh, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. Oh, you know, whatever's happening, they're saying, relax, don't stress, stay calm and trust in the universe. Yes, I can a branch of an apple tree and I'm not going to fall because I'm safe, you know, and the trust that they've got in the universe and the unity. So, you know, I think whoever's going to listen to this podcast are going to really enjoy your messages. And I'll put on the blurb all your websites, and because we can do another chat, because you've got so much to offer, so much to share. We could just talk about veganism, for example, and how you got into it and how we can help people to slowly change their diet. Talk about the benefits of the powerful sprouting and things like that. So for now, where's the best place for people to connect with you?
I would say the best is via my website and yeah, social media otherwise, but website, it's the best. And sign up for the newsletter. I'm also more active now. I have German and English speaking, and stay in touch like that. Yes.
Thanks. And the name of your website?
AngelikaFurstler.com.
Fantastic. I was expecting you to have a blog saying, I am present, or be in the moment now, or something like this.
Yeah, you know, I used to have it like my motto is a bit live your bliss. And then there's so many different projects also. So I could have a website for every single thing that I was like, you know what, let's keep it simple. There's that one place to go, and then, you know, we can take it from there. And there's the sprouting and everything, you know, is evolving and coming, and everything is on there, and we take it from there.
Yeah, and I love the name Blissful Planet, so it's wonderful. So thank you very much for giving up your precious time, and I wish you very good luck for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beverley, for everything you do and are, for this amazing podcast. Thank you for the invitation, for this amazing conversation. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we speak soon.
Thank you.
Bye.